Hello. We're back with episode 3. This episode's a little different, as you can tell. I'm sitting by myself. So what I wanted to do for this episode was I kind of wanted it to be a get to know me episode, because obviously if you're watching this, it's about me and like my life and my experiences with like talking with my friends and kind of stuff like that. But I think it's important to know about me and who I am and just me as in a general. So there's no guest this week, it's just me, and this is also going to be a shorter episode because I didn't want to rant about myself for like an hour, because why would I do that? So it's just a shorter episode, and yeah, I'm going to talk about, I got some questions, I pulled questions from the Instagram polls when I mentioned what would you want to hear me talk about the podcast. So I pulled some questions for that, and I also just brainstormed some questions which I thought would be good for me to put out on the internet. But yeah, there's kind of going to be like 3 levels. There's going to be real surface questions, some like okay questions, and then some deep questions. So the bottle this week is called Crazy, and I bought it because I saw this bottle and I was like, it's really cool. So I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Crazy. Yeah. Okay. I'm also not drinking the whole bottle because I don't need to turn up by myself right now. That's really because I'm not going out tonight. So that's really unnecessary. What's my favorite restaurant? My favorite restaurant, okay, actually this just became my new favorite restaurant. I went to Kingston for Canada Day because I go to Queens, which is in Kingston, and I went to this restaurant twice. And I feel like I went there definitely last year, but I went 2 days back to back, and it was just so good. So it's Tommy's Diner. Maddie and all my housemates, yeah, you know, Tommy's Diner. If you go to Queens, you know Tommy's Diner is where it's at. Because I love good food, obviously, but I love like greasy food. I love it. And if I'm not loving greasy food, then I love seafood. So actually, a restaurant in Toronto, I've only actually ever been here once, but I think I'm going in the next few weeks to this restaurant. It's called Pearl Diver, and it's fantabulous. And I'm gonna give one more restaurant. I went to Florida last year, and I was in Orlando for a dance competition, and I went to this restaurant, and I got a lobster roll, and it was life-changing. I think about it all the time. What was it called? Oh, I don't know if I remember the name of this. Hampton Social or something like that. It's on my Instagram story, so if you're really curious and if you're going to Florida and you want to get this really good lobster roll, I'm pretty it's like the Hampton Social or something like that, but that's really good. So I just named 3 restaurants. One in Kingston, one in Toronto. So Kingston, Tommy's Diner, so good. Toronto, Pearl Diver. It's a really good seafood restaurant and burger restaurant. And then number 3 was this place in Florida that I just think about all the time. Okay. What's one of my biggest pet peeves? I feel like I have quite a few pet peeves. When someone's like, when I can hear your mouth sounds. If you're like chewing and I can hear like the smacking of your mouth, it just will drive me insane. It really irritates me when people do that. And like I can just hear what's going on in your mouth. No. That's a huge pet peeve of mine, actually. Let's see. My favorite food. It's probably seafood. Like, I think about lobster all the time. And whenever I do have lobster, I'm like, oh, it's just so good. Or I love everything, or oysters. I love oysters. Mussels. I love mussels. Calamari. I love calamari. I'm just a huge seafood person. So I feel, and I also don't really have a favorite food because it changes per mood and per craving, but I will always be happy if I'm getting seafood. I will never be upset if I'm getting seafood. Yeah. My favorite song. Okay, so my favorite song actually right now is by the singer who probably nobody knows. I found him on TikTok and I became obsessed with the song and I listen to it all the time. Fun fact, I actually slid into this singer's DMs. He did not respond, obviously, but I am in love with him partially, and I love this song. It's Roommates by Malcolm Todd, and I blast it constantly. It is such a good song, and it makes me just want to dance, and I love it. It's just such a good song. Okay, travel bucket list. So I grew up traveling a lot, actually. I've been all around. But I feel like traveling when I was younger versus traveling now was very, very different. So I'm really excited to start traveling now. But on my travel bucket list, I really want to go to Greece. I really want to go to Italy, which I think I'm doing next year. But the number one thing I've been wanting to do for the longest time, I think for the past 3 years, is I really want to go to Asia. I really want to go to, like, kind of, I think it's like the coast, but I really want to go to like Singapore and Thailand and the Maldives and just that whole, it just looks, I can just picture the hikes I could go on, and I just feel like I could totally find my zen there, and I would, and great food, and just, I feel like I could have a blast there, and I feel like that's the place for me. So yeah, my number one place I want to travel to is that whole area of Asia. I'm counting down the days till I go there. Sorry, I was doing my eye. Oh, got it. Okay. What's next? My favorite drink. Okay, so actually, I don't know. So last night I had 2 drinks for the first time. I had my first ever Long Island iced tea. It never appealed to me to order it. But my friends were drinking it and I tried it and I loved it. And I also had a pickleback shot, which I loved. And then also 2 weeks ago was the first time I ever tried a Caesar. Because I have this thing with tomatoes, but I'm working on it. But now I can like kind of eat tomatoes. So I tried a Caesar and I actually love Caesars. But I love an Aperol Spritz. I think honestly my favorite drink, and I'm talking about like alcoholic beverage, honestly, if you just give me a glass of Prosecco, I will be very happy. I love Prosecco. Or I also love a sangria or a white wine spritzer. Yeah. I'm a wine girl, but if I'm not drinking any sort of wine or Prosecco kind of thing, then just a tequila shot. I don't know if I should be saying that on the internet, but just give me a tequila shot with a lime and salt. I'll be very happy. I love tequila. Yeah. And the taste of tequila doesn't really affect me, and it doesn't repulse me. I feel like most people will be like, that's a lot of tequila, that's gross. Or I'll mix myself a drink, I'll put tequila in there, and someone will try and be like, that's repulsive. Ugh. And I'm like, I can't even taste the tequila. But I am a tequila girl, so it's a really fun fact. My favorite show. So I'm a huge TV person. I love TV. I feel like there's a bunch of different categories. If we're gonna go reality, the Kardashians, obviously. I'm a huge Kardashian fan. But there's just so many shows. I don't know. I honestly don't think I can pick. I love Sex and the City. I live by Sex and the City. I love Mindy Project. I love sitcoms. So like Mindy Project, The Office. I'm a really big fan of The Office. I've probably watched it 20 times. I love the show Bob's Burgers. I'm obsessed with that show. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with that show. I love Bob's Burgers. Did I already say Parks and Rec? I think I already said Parks and Rec, but I'm rewatching Parks and Rec for like the 6th time right now. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, obviously. I'm missing one. There's one sitcom that I love that I'm missing, and I know I'm missing it. Modern Family, duh. But so all those shows like that sitcom vibe, love. And adult animation, which I added in there, like Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, American Dad, all that. Love those shows. Oh, Simpsons, obviously. But then for drama series, I love Bones. I love Bones. Sex and the City, I'll add in there. I'm trying to think. This summer I turned pretty. Love that show. It came out yesterday. No, it hasn't come out yet. What am I saying? It's coming out very, very soon. And I'm counting down the days till season 2 is out. So I love that show. But I'm a really big TV lover, so I can't even pick one show, and I haven't even mentioned half of them. But Criminal Minds, I'm not picking. I don't have my favorite show. I don't have my favorite show. Okay. This is getting into a little bit more personal, but something about myself I want to work on. I don't know. I definitely have a bunch of things I want to work on about myself, 100%. But I feel like the biggest thing, and I've been working on it, is trying to hold grudges less. I hold grudges like nobody else. But I think it's also because if I get hurt by you deeply, I have the habit of wanting to cut somebody out of my life. And I do tend to do that, so I'm trying to work on that. And that's like, grudges are embedded in that. But I'm trying to just be able to move past things. And I think part of it is how I react when situations happen. I'll react fully out of anger. And then I'm just like, I'm never going to get over it. I'm always going to remember this. We're done. So kind of all of that I'm working on. And I've worked a lot on, I think all of these intertwine, but communication. I've really tried to work on the way I communicate with others, because people don't know what I'm thinking, and maybe I'll assume people know exactly why I'm upset with them or why they hurt my feelings, but that's not true. So I'm really trying to work on communicating my feelings. So I'm trying to work on communicating my feelings, not holding grudges, not cutting people out of my life, and not initially reacting out of anger. So all of that I'm trying to work on, which is good, but at least I know I need to work on it, so I think it's better, because some people probably don't know they need to work on that. But I know it's an issue, so I'm going to fix the issue, hopefully, in time. For probably a lifespan of time, but for... Okay. What's next? How has dance impacted my life? So this was someone suggested this question. Dance has impact, because so for those who don't know, I started dancing at the age of 3. I think I did my first competition at the age of 4, 5. No, I started dancing at 2. I did my first competition at like 4 or 5, I think. And I've just kept on dancing. I dance a lot growing up. Like in high school, my life was surrounded by dance, and I loved that. I don't think it's an issue. I loved it. But I feel as though there's dancing, and then there's the environment that dance creates, kind of, like the dance culture. So growing up as a dancer, I don't think, not everyone experiences this, but I have, it really started to make me kind of see my body in a new light, and in certain versions of like myself and my body. So I'm someone who's very hard on myself in pretty much every aspect, and combining like body dysmorphia in the dance world and all that, that's definitely heavily impacted my life. I mean, I'm 19 now and I still have as many issues with that subject as I did when I was 10. So that's one way dance has impacted my life. But on a much more positive note, it's given me kind of an outlet that I need in my life, and that if I didn't have dance, I don't know what I would have done. I would be a mess if I didn't have dance. Especially because when I was in grade 12, I feel I went through a really tough time. And so me and my dance teacher, we kind of made one of my solos kind of about this whole situation. And every time I did this dance, like this routine, a little bit of me felt there was a part of me that felt release. So, and I feel I probably did this dance probably like 100 times, at least 100 times. So each time I did that, I felt better and better. And so it just, if I didn't have this dance, not even last year, oh my gosh, 2 years ago, if I didn't have that dance and that release for what I was going through, I don't know how I would have gotten through that whole time in my life, because it was a really hard time for me. And I would do this dance and I would end this dance crying. Or I should even remember, not even talking about this solo I did, but I was going through a tough time in grade 12, and I went to the studio like 3 hours early, I feel like, and I just started improvising. I feel like this sounds really stupid, but whatever. I just started improvising, I think by myself in a room for like 3 hours, and one of my friends came in and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I am dancing through my pain." And I was dancing, and she was like, "What's wrong? Like, what happened?" And I was just dancing, and then I just remember I started bawling my eyes out while I was dancing, and I think I like sat there crying for 30 minutes. But if I wasn't dancing that day, I would have sat there crying for 5 hours probably. But dance has been a huge help for my mental health, 100%. But obviously, it's impacted how I view my body. But anxiety and that whole spectrum kind of wise, emotional, it's been really, really good for me. And I also think it gave me a lot of structure in the way that it was, I would go to school, then I would come straight home from school, eat, then go straight to dance for 5 hours, come home, go to bed, wake up, repeat. It gave me a lot of structure, and it kind of kept me busy, so I didn't socialize as much when I was younger. But I'm not a huge social person, so I loved it. I loved having an excuse not to go out, but it definitely added a lot of structure in my life. And it also taught me a sense of family outside of like my household family, because I still see everybody who I grew up dancing with all the time, literally last night, and I still love everybody so much. And I know I have all these people. So, but it just gave me a second family too. But, okay, moving on to the next question, because that one went on for a while. Let me drink some more, though. Okay. Am I close with my family? Okay. See, I wouldn't consider me to be, like, very close to my family, but I am very close to my family, but I kind of just always assumed that was a normal kind of vibe, I guess, that we had. But I would say I'm pretty close to my family. My mom, anytime something is wrong, she's the first person I go to. I don't go to a friend. I go to my mom. Or I go to my sister. Like, one of the people who can cheer me up like that is my dad. I'm very close with both my parents and my sister. And I just couldn't imagine not having that relationship as you have with them. It's shaped me, definitely it's shaped me so much as a person. But I couldn't imagine not having relationships with my family the way that they are. Even like with my grandparents and my aunts and like stuff like I'm very close with my aunts and uncles. I'm very close with my family, And I love it. Anytime it's a birthday, I have 20 people calling me, and that's where I feel love. I don't feel love from people posting happy birthday or whatever. I just feel love from my family calling me, and or anytime when I finished school, I had all these people calling me like, oh my gosh, like you finished your first year of school, like we're so proud of you, and like just that's what family is to me. And also my family doesn't consist of people who are my blood relatives, and that's one thing my family really has. What makes someone family isn't their blood, it's your love. So I have a bunch of uncles and aunts. Not all of them are related to me by blood, obviously, but they're just as much, I feel like, my uncle and aunt as my blood uncle and aunts are, because they've been there for me growing up. Like when I was born, they were at the hospital, and they've seen me throughout my entire life, and I do talk to them constantly, and they know about everything going on in my life. So I'm really close with my family. And I love my family. I love spending a Friday night in with my family than going out. I love it. We do movie nights all the time, and they're my favorite nights. They're just so much fun. It takes us hours to agree on a movie, but I love a good family movie night. Or a family dinner. Those are always fun. Okay, now we're getting to the real deep questions. And this was also from an Instagram. Someone asked this question. So what are the highest and lowest points of your life? Of my life? I would say for me, the lowest points of my life have been when I've lost, and when I'm saying lost, I don't mean died, but just I've no longer been, I don't see that person anymore. Like I lost someone who I've been close with. And I think, I don't know, I'm thinking of 3 people right now in the past 2 years. Actually, not even 3. I think there's been 4 people in the last 4 years, I would say, who I was very, very, very close with, and something happened. And some of these instances have been because we got into a relationship or just other factors, whatever, but my relationship with this person ended, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship. It ended, and when someone very, very close to me, when I lose someone very, very close to me, it hurts me very deeply, and it kind of impacts me, I feel like, a lot more than for others. And I think it's because how I do view my friends. I view them as a family member, so when I do lose a friend, it is like losing a family member to me, and it's a really hard thing to go through. And whether it's been like and I also see, if I've ever been in a relationship with anybody, I see them as a friend primarily, and I will always be friends with someone before being in a relationship with them, because I just feel like that's the way to go. But yeah, I feel like losing people in my life definitely impacts me very, very heavily, and really does hurt my heart, because I don't know, like, I feel like in the past 2 years specifically, there were 3 people I lost. 2 were kind of at the same time, and 1 was this past year. But I feel when I'm in a friendship, I put my everything and all into that friendship and expect it to last forever, which I don't know if is healthy, but at least I hope it lasts forever. And so losing that really upsets me, especially when it's someone who would drive me to my doctor's appointments, and if I was sad, they were the first person I called, very, very close with, or I saw every single day for however long. Losing that is really upsetting. And I feel like, yeah, but I'm gonna say those have been the lows of my life. Obviously there's been more. I don't really know if I want to put the other ones on the internet, but when I've lost people who I loved in the way that we no longer talk or like see each other, and we kind of just, our friendships stopped, those have been really hard times for me, because when I do lose a friend, I take it very seriously and very heavily. But some of the highs of my life, let's get to that. It's when I'm with the people I love. And I was with one person in a romantic relationship for a little bit, and that was like a really good point in my life. Not because I had a man, you know, in my life, but because of the time we were spending together and the way that it was just so positive and so connective. I don't know if that's a word. But just, it was also a feeling of like truly understanding one another. That was like a really great time in my life. And I also think all the other great times in my life have been when I've been with my parents and my sister, or I've been with my friends. Like, I can't even think of the best moment in my life, because I feel I'm so lucky to have had so many, which I'm very blessed to have had. But yeah, I feel like I'm not answering these questions well at all, and I'm really sorry if I'm not answering them well, but that's what you're gonna get. Okay, let's see what the next one is. Next one's heavy. So the next question is if I've ever been in love. So I'm 19, you know. I've loved one person in my life. Like, obviously I love my friends and my family, but in a romantic way, I think I've only ever loved one person in my life. And I think, yeah, I don't really know. It's for sure I've only ever loved one person in my life. I'm not gonna say who. The person who it was knows. But yes, I have been in love. But I've been in love as a teenager. Like, I'm not even 20 yet. So I'm gonna love probably harder and bigger in a few years. But for at the point where I am in my life, I have had one love. Yeah, I feel like this is really weird for me to be talking about and really awkward, but yeah. Okay, I'm gonna drink a little more. And what's the next question? So, the next question is, what is something that's heavily impacted my life? I don't even know. I mean, many things have heavily impacted my life. Many, many, many things. Actually, I'll say this. My mental health, I think, has heavily impacted my life. And I think the way that it's heavily impacted my life is the way that I've tried I've recognized that what is going on inside my brain, and I've been like, I don't want to live my life this way. I'm going to change, and I'm going to do my very, very best to try and make the way my brain is working change. Which I think obviously is not an easy thing to do, and I think anyone who deals with anything like under that umbrella of mental health knows exactly what I'm saying. And I'm also really proud, I would say, for the way that with my mental health I've had a bunch of things, whatever, but I've been able to still be who I am and still live happily and still enjoy life and appreciate what the world is giving me and what the world has to offer. And I really am, I know I am, and maybe some people don't see me as this, but I'm someone who normally always sees the glass half full. I try my very best, I do it every day, and I check myself and I remember and I recognize that I'm lucky to be alive and to have the things I have, the opportunities I have, and my health and my family's health. But I'm lucky to be living the life I'm living, so I should do my very best at enjoying the life I'm living. And I don't know if anything I'm saying is making sense, but me doing that in my life and recognizing that I'm doing that in my life and recognizing that I needed to do that in my life has had a very heavy impact in my life. I don't know, I really don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, because most of the time I feel like what I say just makes sense to me, so I could be totally crazy, but yeah. How would I like people to experience me? And I think this might be one of the reasons why I made the podcast, is because I want people to experience me like this, being my genuine self. And I'm not an extrovert in any possible way. I may seem like an extrovert. I'm not. I really don't like socializing with people who I don't know, and I don't really love socializing that much. But I love just having conversations with people, and I think for me, a lot of people judge me before they know me or judge me through other people, which I don't really think is fair. I don't think you can have an opinion on somebody until you know the person. And so I kind of also wanted this podcast so people can know me and not know the person who people will make me out to be. Jesus, this is getting really deep. But yeah, I feel like that was actually a really good answer. I'm really proud of myself for that one. That was a good one. Oh. Okay. What's my current relationship status? I'm single, and I'm proud to be single, and I want to be single. I mean, yeah. No, I don't need a boyfriend right now. I don't want a boyfriend. Yeah, I'm single. I'm really happy to be single. Honestly, I think for a while, especially growing up, I think a lot of it was like, oh, being in a relationship, like that's the main goal. It's not the main goal. And all of like middle school and high school, I really wanted to be in a relationship. And I feel like grade 12, you know, I was in a relationship and I was whatever, but that really wasn't me my happiest. And I think I am very excited to one day be in a great relationship, but I don't necessarily think that's now, and I'm not counting down the minutes till I'm in a relationship. It'll happen when it happens, when I find the right person. And until then, I'm very happy to be single. Being single's a blast. Yeah, I love being single. I'm honestly also, I'm not really looking to. I'm not trying to find somebody to start seeing. Like, I was supposed to go on a date. I canceled that. I don't want to go on that. I want to be single. I, like, at least for the rest of summer, for the last month and a half, I need to be single. I need to be single. I also just don't want that drama in my life. And obviously relationships can be great, but from my experience, every relationship I've been in has brought so much drama, and I just, no. I hate drama. That's a pet peeve. Drama. Ugh. It just takes up so much of my time, and I could be spending that time doing something else, enjoying. So I hate drama, and I don't need that in my life. I love being single. Okay. What am I most thankful for? I am most thankful. There's not even one thing. I'm thankful for everything. I'm thankful for all the experiences I've gone through in my life, the bad ones, the good ones. It makes me the person who I am today. So I'm grateful for experiencing that. I'm grateful for the amazing family I was born into. I'm grateful for all the people who I have in my life who I love deeply. I'm thankful for the opportunities I've been given. And I'm thankful I get to live the life I live. And for me, recognizing and appreciating your life and just appreciating the little things is a really big thing. I always do it. I always like to either start or end the day, depends. It changes when I do it, but I like to just take a moment to just be thankful. Because I mean, a lot of people are going through a lot of things, and maybe I'm going through a lot of things, but I'm meant to go through those things to learn things from that. And I'm also thankful that the things I'm going through aren't as bad as some other people's. And I don't know, I'm just very thankful for the life I've been given. That is a huge thing for me, to be thankful. I love it. And Thanksgiving, I make a huge thing on the Thanksgiving for my family. I give them all little cards they have to fill out. And we have to sit down and we all have to read to each other why we're thankful for this. And I also give everyone a certain name and we say why we're thankful for that person and what they've done for us. I love taking minutes and taking time to just recognize, I can't even say, what's the word? Recognize the things in our life and just take a moment to be thankful. I think it's very important and I think everyone should do it. And I think it's really clear to the people, it's really clear that some people don't do that. Because some people take a lot of stuff for granted and that's really easy. It's really easy to take things for granted. But it's important that you don't. I don't know. Yeah. And I think I did for a while too in my life. And then I think around when I started just, going through some stuff, personally, I started to be like, okay, this is tough, but then kind of be like, hey, take a step back. You know what? I'm still thankful for the life I have, which I think is important. Okay, I'm moving on. You could give me a topic and I could talk about it for like hours. So I'm very sorry if this is actually really long. Also, no, I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, but this is gonna be my last glass because I'm not doing any more than this. 3 glasses, that's, I'm good. I am good. But I'm not gonna be doing a drinking game during this episode because I feel like if you're doing a drinking game alone, that's kind of sad. So I won't be doing that. This is gonna be the last question. What qualities do I admire in my parents? I think my parents are 2 of the greatest people on earth. I really do. And my dad, I admire his kindness. And I think a lot of people, I feel like every person who's met my dad would totally agree on this. My dad is the nicest person you'll ever meet in your life. He walks in a room and immediately he has the biggest smile in the world. And he's just loved by all. And And so, because he's just a great person. And he's just so nice and just, he makes you laugh and just, he gets along with everybody. And so, that's something I really admire in my dad. Something I admire in my mama. I call my mom, either I call her M-U-M, mom, or I call her mama, or I call her mommy. And I call my dad papa, or puppy, or daddy. I do say daddy, not in a weird way. I hate it when people say it in a weird way because it really grosses me out because I refer to my dad as daddy sometimes because I'm their little girl. But what I admire in my mom is the way she goes for what she wants and she most of the time can get it. I think my mom is an insanely strong individual and an insanely strong woman, and that's what I want to be, and she set me a really good standard growing up as being an independent woman, as one should be, and being a strong woman, and that's what I want to be. So, I admire both those qualities of my parents. My mom's telling me to wrap it up, actually, as I'm talking about her. And they just heavily impacted the person who I want to be. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to finish this, and then I can do a little outro and talk about next week's episode. Okay, so next week is going to be the 4th episode of the month, and every 4th episode of the month is going to be a fun episode, and it's going to be themed, which is so fun, right? I know. So next week's episode is going to have a guest. It's going to go back to normal, how it normally goes, but it will be themed, which is super fun. I'm not going to announce the theme. You'll have to see when it comes out, but it's going to be a blast. So I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you watched this, I really appreciate it, and I love you. DM us if you'd want to be on the podcast. I know we have a lineup right now, but we're always taking in new people. We'd love to have you. Or if you want to, I don't know, do some stuff for the podcast, because I know we're going to start building up the TikTok, so follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube. We're working on the Spotify. It's going to come soon. But thank you for watching. Remember, every Sunday at 6 p.m. And also tune in to next week's episode. I love you so much, and I'm very grateful for you. Thank you. I'm going to finish this, and then it's going to be done. I love you.